Hello, YouTube. If you're new here, my name's Addison. I competed in my first competition about 7 weeks ago, and now I am sharing information on bodybuilding related stuff. Today I wanted to talk about signs that you are not ready to start prep. In retrospect, after my first prep, I realized how many things that are so important to have established before starting a prep that I didn't realize before. So I thought I would hop on here and share some of my thoughts with you guys. So we're gonna dive right in. Number one, why are you prepping in the first place? What is your why? Now, I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's really important to have a good why, because when prep sucks and you are depleted and you don't want to do anything, you have to rely on your why to get you through those hard days. So if you're doing it just to step on stage in a sparkly bikini, that's not gonna cut it. So make sure your why is a good one, to say the least. For me personally, my why was to prove to myself that I can do anything that I set my mind to, and I proved it correct. Crazy concept, right? And I knew about a few weeks into my prep that I was going to achieve what I set out to do, because that's just the type of person I am. But I just kept proving it to myself through the process. Number two, having a bad relationship with food. You need to make sure that before you start prep that your relationship with food is solid, that you have a good foundation, because a prep is only going to change that to an extreme, if that makes sense. Before starting prep, I had no issues with food. I've never had any issues with food. I never looked at food weirdly. I was always very healthy. I had good intentions with food, which is where you should be. However, during prep, if you find yourself idolizing food, take a moment of pause and reevaluate what you're doing, because you're only setting yourself up for a really hard reverse. And I am learning that now, which I could do a video on. 3, being able to cope with not winning. And this goes back to your why. If you are competing just to win a trophy, don't compete. Please, don't even. Bodybuilding is a super subjective sport, and you need to be at a good place with yourself before you put yourself in a situation to be judged by people that you don't know, half naked on a stage. If you're not happy with yourself, a medal isn't gonna change that. And there's so many aspects to show day itself that you can't be defined by a one outcome. You have to appreciate the journey and do it for the journey, because that is what you are going to experience. Show day is only a blimp in the whole process. Number 4, educate yourself on the effects of prep on your body before you prep. You should know going into a show that you might lose your menstrual cycle, you might mess up your hormones. You have risks that you are willing and or not willing to take, but you have to educate yourself on all the aspects of prep before you start, because a lot of girls don't realize that it's a common thing to lose your cycle during your prep. And when it happens and they aren't educated on it, they freak out. And it's like, well, girl, do your research on what you're doing. That's very important. 5, I think, competing will change the way you look at food. Your body, if this is your first prep, you have never put yourself in starvation mode to that much of an extreme, unless you've done military training or something. So you are changing your hormones and you're putting your body into a state of starvation for weeks on end. I'm just gonna leave that at that. Just know that you will not be able to look at food or a banana. You will never look at a banana the same. If you bodybuild, you know what I'm saying. So just take that into account before you start prep, that you will see food as macros out of prep. For better or worse, that's up to you. I see it as a great tool to know what is good for my body and what is not. Everything is in perspective. Just know that you will look at food differently. Take that as you will. 6, I think, you might lose friends through this process. If you've never done a prep before, you are not gonna be able to function in the same ways you did before prep. For me personally, I didn't know what to expect. So whenever my friends asked me to go out, that wasn't a priority to me anymore. So I stopped going out with them. And therefore, I saw them less, and therefore I was invited to less things, and therefore you kind of lose friends for a temporary amount of time. But obviously, those friends still love me. I still love them. I see them now and then, obviously. But during prep, there are those days where you just have to prioritize what you're doing, and through that process, you may lose friendship. But that's also an opportunity to find balance and define your boundaries with people. And I think that overall it is a great transformative journey for you to really evaluate what you prioritize for yourself. I find an advantage in that, but to some people you might think that you're missing out on a lot. 7, I think, make sure you're at a good place financially. This is the last point I'm gonna make, but if you are not willing to spend thousands of dollars on a hobby, don't prep, because you don't know what you're signing up for. I could do a show day cost alone, but I think I competed in 2 shows, and I want to say each show was like over $1,000 just for the day. Like, that's not even, I could go into a whole video on that topic, but just know that this sport is very, very, very expensive, and if you're not willing to spend hundreds of dollars on coach, supplement, your suit, hotel, potential travel, groceries, your NPC card, hair and makeup. Hair and makeup alone, insane. Insane. Yeah, there's a lot of financial stuff that goes into the sport that I didn't know about before I started, and I wish I would have prepared a little bit more for, but in retrospect, it is what it is. But just be aware that this is a very expensive sport. And that is all I have for today. I didn't write this down, but let me finish on number 8. Make sure you're happy with yourself, with your own body before going into a prep, because you will never look at your body the same. After seeing your body in the leanest state it has ever been, you are not going to be able to unsee that. So make sure that your self-worth and your self-identity is at a good standing before you start a prep, because it's only going to get like skewed and a little bit messed up through competing and prepping. So be aware of that. Love yourself through the process. Know that everything is temporary. And in this sport, our bodies are always changing. We're always in different seasons, whether it's growing, prepping, maintaining. Our bodies are constantly changing, and it's just all a part of the journey. So if you're not able to be okay with that and really just appreciate the process of bodybuilding and love the process, then you should not prep. Yeah, that's all I have to say. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I am just starting out on YouTube. I'm proving to myself that I'm able to do YouTube. So if you liked my content, please like, follow, subscribe, all those things. And I will be making more bodybuilding, health, mindset, self-care type of content. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed.